How's it going, dudes, and welcome back to Stillwater, and we're back where we left off. So I'm just gonna continue reading. Reading was a brightly lit hallway. Ego notes that the interior is just as grand, adorned with floral accents and antique paintings. It exudes an elegant charm found only in a resplendent house such as this. However, Hugo notices something even more distinct than the splendor. This house is much more terrifying inside than out. Please, come this way. Bracing themselves, they enter the dimly lit drawing room. At first glance, Hugo could not discern the silhouette situated at the far corner. However, on closer inspection, he now understands the reason for all of Nia's unsettled vagueness. Grandfather, we have guests. Sitting on the armchair is a young man. He is dressed in a white-collared dress shirt tucked in with black slacks and black penny loafers. Staring only at the window, the young man sits there, dazed with little acknowledgement of people around him. Still motionless, like a doll. Grandpa, these are the people I spoke of. This is Detective Laurent and his two assistants, Colby and Noah. They're going to help us. Even after introducing them to the head of the Mortimer estate, Hugo and Noah could not help but feel unnerved. The man before them is supposed to be frail and older than any of them, and yet here he remains forever unchanging, forever young. They've come a long way, so I'll be making some coffee. Would you also like some, Grandpa? The young man still does not reply back, nor glance at Nia or anyone else in the room, only fixed on the rain. I'll be sure to make a cup for you too. Then she gently gestures to Hugo and Noah back to the foyer. Bearing more questions, the two follow me outside. But before they leave the drawing room, Hugo takes one last look at the young man. There is an all too familiar air about Henry Mortimer. His eyes, they're similar to his own. Whatever he must be longing for, Hugo knows it will not end well. Nina, that man. Yes, he's my grandfather. The one I asked you all to watch over. I know this is hard to believe, but Nina draws something out from her pocket. It's an antique picture of a young man with slick back hair wearing a luxurious suit. He appears to be poised and refined, a complete contrast to the current Henry Mortimer. This isn't much to go by, but I swear he is the same person. Then why does he look so young? It happened a few nights ago. I was on my way to get a cup of tea when I heard a loud thud coming from my grandfather's room. I was worried that something fell over, so I went to go check. When I opened the door, I found him collapsed on the ground. I rushed to help him up, but when I Look, but when I did, he looked so different. So many things were rushing to my head, and yet he felt so familiar to me. He wore the same clothes that my grandpa wore that night, and his face, I recognized his face. He just looked younger. That was also the same night I found that letter. It was next to him, already opened. I'm sorry again for all this. No matter who I went to, they either said something was wrong with me or my family. Was everything going on? Maybe they're right. The pools of water, the dripping sounds, the letter, and now this. Maybe my family really is cursed. They're not. Curses aren't real. Detective. I think we easily get too involved in believing that sort of thing exists. In reality, the one who fixated on it feeds off it. Rumors, doubts, lies, all of these things are what they want to become real. Deep-rooted emotions like that can't possibly be healed or fixed away. But like a curse, those emotions drag other people down with them. Personally, I think you are caught up in all of this. But I assure you, we'll see this through. For you and your grandfather. Thank you. Good. Now our first priority is to find out more about Louise. Nina, the letter you showed us back at the agency, do you have it with you? Yes, it's here. Do you mind if I borrow it for a bit? I'll be sure to give it back. Of course. I'll check upstairs. Noah and you and Colby check the ground floor. Got it. Before they leave to do their own investigation, Hugo grabs a hold of Noah's shoulder. He leans in close enough for Nina not to hear. Keep a close eye on Mr. Mortimer and Nina. Especially Nina. Okay. I'm counting on you. You too, boy. And with that, Hugo heads upstairs, starting his investigation. 11:30. After searching vigorously through each of the rooms, he knew his findings would eventually lead him here. This is it. Hugo walks towards the nearest lampshade and opens it. He turns it on. Dimly illuminated, he sees the exact extent of how lavish this part of the house is. From customized drapes to vintage furniture. Everything here exudes that extravagance. But much like the interior Hugo has seen so far, he finds this one in particular reeks of it. Plastered from wall to wall, a sense of gloom lingers. It's as if the room itself is moldering despite its preserved nature. Moldering? I need to hurry. I don't want to stay here for too long. It's been 20 minutes. He searched and searched, still with no sign of anything. Not one thing pertaining to Louise. Nothing! It's as if he cleared out everything, just blank everywhere. No, it has to be here. I'm just missing something. He ponders again before remembering the letter. This is the only proof Louise exists so far. I'll try to read it again. Maybe I overlooked it. As he takes the letter out from the envelope, he notices a change within. Bearing no foreboding threat at the bottom of the page, it looks just like a regular letter. What the? If you can't come, then I understand. It's pretty dirty after all. But if I can ask one last favor of you, could you keep my locket? I know this is selfish of me, but I'd like you to have it. I'd be happy knowing it's with you. Thank you for everything, Henry. Forever yours, Louise. Or Lois. This is the same. I thought he was the cause of all this. I don't understand. Without warning, the sound of a click can be heard across the bedroom, as if something unlocked itself. Hugh turns around and sees at the foot of the bed a chest. Unlike the other furniture, it's dark and rustic. Features have not been maintained well. Left to run on its own. Preparing himself, he opens the chest. Inside, scrambled together, are bunches of notebooks and small trinkets. He continues to rummage through when he stumbles across an old newspaper article. Young man found dead by the lake. An unidentified young man was found on the morning of redacted 3 days prior to his death, according to the police. Ruled out as a suicide. Police have claimed that the troubled youth drowned himself. This certainty is a tragic loss. Unfortunate events indeed. Redacted comments. No claim of his body has been made. Lewis. By the corner of Hugo's eye, he spots a bright glint buried beneath the clutter. He reaches for it. A locket of brilliant gold shines unblemished, retaining a timeless luster. Inside it safeguards the picture of a young man with glasses, smiling brightly. This must be the locket that he was talking about. It's so pretty. I'm surprised it still shines like this in this picture. Did he put this here? No, it might have been Henry. But why? Why would he store it away like this? What should I do? Take the locket. We might need it for the investigation. I should probably hold on to this for now. He is about to put something back into the chest when he feels a wet and cold sensation crawling up his leg. What? Water? A pool of water relentlessly spreads across the floor, already seeping into the chest. No. Suddenly, the light shut off. A scream is heard, followed by myriad shouts. Everything's all wavy now. Hugo is about to call out Noah, but stops at the sight of pale feet before him. Oh, looming over him stands a tall and ominous figure. His face is shrouded in complete darkness, devoid of any human emotion. It appears a young man, but Hugo knows that it's far from it. No, this very thing is trying to imitate a human form, trying to be human. Hugo can only stare back. Paralyzed with fear, he is forced to watch the horror as it slowly creeps towards him. It's just like before, the sensation of someone staring at him from within. But this time, it's drawing near, inching ever so closely. The words to call out to Kobe or Noah fail to reach out. Lodged in his throat, he struggles in pain. With his breathing shallow, he tries to force his body to move. And then it stops. Looking down at Hugo, filled with nothing but malice and contempt, it speaks. Don't get in my way. All of a sudden, the door to the bedroom slams shut, and the entity disappears. The tension from his body finally releases its agonizing grip, and he grasps desperately for air. His vision blurred and breathing jagged. He staggered towards the door. He yanks the handle several times, but it's tightly jammed. F. No, Colby! To his dismay, he is only greeted with silence at the other side, at the other end of the door. From a distance, he faintly hears the sound of Colby's relentless barking as it gets further away from the house. Hugo rushes towards the window. He tries to pry open, but it just like the door, a heavy force prevents him from doing so. Frantically looking around the room, he spots a nearby chair. Without a moment sooner, he grabs the chair and starts to strike the window. Bit by bit, the window cracks, yet larger with each blow, bleeding off smaller pieces. What the is this thing made of? Still trying to catch his breath, he musters all the strength he has left for a final blow. Just break already! Clearing out the remaining glass shards, Hugo peers his head out to see any railing he can grab hold of. However, he still instead that the wall adjacent is covered in ivy. Despite how heavy the rain is drastically become, he reaches out for it, grabbing a handful of vines. Carefully, he climbs out the window, gripping tightly and making sure he doesn't lose his footing. Yet to his look, the patch of ivy's vines he clutches starts to tear away from the wall. Out of desperation, he struggles to find his grip on another, but fails when his hand slips out of reach. Clamoring wildly as he loses grip on the ivy, he lands down into the thicket of bushes. Air forced out of him, he's uncontrollably trying to even out his breathing, but even that is laborious. An intense pain spreads across not only his back, but his entire body. I'm getting too old for this. Although his body screams out in pain, he forces himself up. There's still time. I can do this. I have to do this. With staggering feet and haggard breathing, he makes his way to the place where it all started. To the lake, where the tragedy starts and ends. Mortimer Estate, 1201. Finally entering through the park, Hugo calls out to Colby and Noah. Colby, Noah, where are you? He hears faintly the sound of barking and echoes of people yelling in the distance. He rushes towards the echoes, guiding him through the downpour. With his heart racing and blood rushing to his head, he finds his way to the lake. Drawing closer, he sees Nina giving chase to her grandfather. Unfortunately, she doesn't get too far as Noah stops her. Grandpa! Stop, Grandpa! Let me go! My grandpa, he's... Nina, please, it's dangerous. You'll get hurt too. I don't care. I don't want to lose anyone anymore. That instant, Hugo trudges against the water, pursuing in Nina's stead. Hugo! No, don't! Please fall deaf to his ears. Not even the whines and worries and worried cries of his partner can make him turn back. Determined, he trudges further in. Near the deep end, he sees Henry Mortimer gazing directly at the abyss. He looks even more frail and disheveled, as if all life had been drained from him. Surrender it all to the lake. Before Henry could lean in, Hugo reaches out and tugs on his arm. Mr. Mortimer, listen to me. Nothing is waiting for you down there, so please come back to the shore with me. Motionless and unresponsive, he still stares deeply into the abyss. There are so much things we cannot afford to lose in our lives. And you're one of them. To Nina, you're all she has left. She needs you, Mr. Mortimer. Hugo felt it. A slight jolt from Henry's arm, as if stirred by the mention of Nina. He slowly turns to face Hugo. Nina? However, just as cruel and violent as the storm, Henry jerks back, wrenching his arm away from Hugo. Hold on him. All of this is my fault. If only I got to Louise sooner, then none of this would have happened. Henry inches even closer to the edge. Louise, I'm sorry. I should have what? Gone in his stead? Gone with him? You know what wouldn't resolve. You know that wouldn't resolve anything. Not for you or Louise. I read what he wrote to you those years ago. He understood if you didn't want to come to see him. But the thing is, Mr. Mortimer, Louise never thought anything less of you. The locket is proof of that. Louise's locket? Yes, it is a symbol of his love for you. Shut up, phone. That's why you don't have to show her all of that pain by yourself anymore. We can talk about it. About you and Luis. All of it, together. Hugo extends not only his hand to him, but a promise. A promise that Henry had yearned for so long. A way to forgive himself. He hesitates at first. What fool believes in a deserved forgiveness? Such a thing doesn't exist. And yet, despite everything, Hugo still reaches out to him. To a stranger. Maybe he can be forgiven. Just as he was about to reach out for Hugo, a hand slithered around Henry's instead. Its arm unnaturally contorted around him, while its head perched on his shoulder. This Luis is no longer pretending to be human. With piercing old green eyes, it glares directly at Hugo, mocking him, cursing him, wishing nothing but despair. We can be saved. We can be forgiven. There's only one true way out of this. What? Before Hugo can reach out for Henry's hand, he disappears into the water. Mr. Mortimer! Without hearing the anguished cries and desperate pleas, Hugo dives after him into the abyss. What? Plunged into the icy waters, Hugo feels shocks running rampant through his body, like spikes continually piercing from his leg to the tips of his fingers. Fiercely and unyielding, his chest tightens and his heart races as he begins to kick his legs, hoping whichever way he goes, he'll find a way to Henry. Swimming deeper and deeper in, he sees faintly a figure slowly descending into the darkness. As he finally gets closer to Henry, long snake-like arms stretch across the void and grab Hugo's neck, violently squeezing all the air from it. He tries desperately to wrench its hands away, but with each struggle, Hugo's movements begin to weigh heavier and heavier. Luis, where are you, Luis? Look, it's looking for Luis. Dripping deep into his coat's pocket, he grabs tightly in his hand the locket that Henry kept and had long forgotten, holding it out as it shines ever so brightly in the darkness. There you are. It releases its grip on Hugo and instead reaches out for the locket. Taking this as a chance, he drops the chain and kicks with all his might to grab Henry's arm. With his heart burning and his body screaming, he swims desperately to the surface. Almost there. I just have to. As the lights from the surface begin to blur, Hugo makes one last attempt to reach for it. With his limbs worn out and his energy spent, this is all he can do. Before he loses his consciousness, he notices a figure swimming towards him, getting closer and closer. and then everything fades to black. Apparently we don't know where or what time it is. Drifting along with his feet like an endless sea, Hugo courses through wave after wave. The good thing we brought that rocket with us. Not knowing where he's going or caring for that matter. All he knows is that he's very, very tired. How long has it been since he had a good night's rest? It's been too long. Maybe I should take that rest now. I like that so much. I agree that you deserve it, but not here. I'm sorry for startling you. I just wanted to see you before I go. Louise? You've done so much for me and Henry. Thank you. No worries. From a far distance, a voice cries out to him, beckoning for him to come back. Well, I guess this is it. Take care, Hugo. The lake. With his eyes closed and his senses still returning, he feels the constant tug and licks of a stern bloodhound, whining as he tries to wake up his partner. Hugo! He also hears another familiar, too annoyingly close for comfort. Eyes shot right open, he jerks up. Confused, Hugo looks around before he coughs up the remaining water in his lungs. Are you alright? Noah starts to pat his head back while... Wait, what? Noah starts to pat his back while Colby continues to whine over Hugo. Well, what happened? Where's Mr. Mortimer? He's safe. So is Nina. They're both okay. The police and ambulance should be arriving soon. Thank goodness. Isn't there more you have to say to me? Instead of thank goodness? I swear you don't listen to a darn word I say. I'm sorry, Noah. Exhausted, he lets out a sigh. He then continues to pat Hugo's back aggressively when someone approaches them. Detective Laurent. Oh, Nina. There's someone I want you to meet. Behind her stands an elderly man. Frail in stature, he timidly looks to the side pensively as he ponders to himself. Although his youth is long faded, his eyes are what catches Hugo's attention. It is no longer a piercing, vicious green. Only eyes just like Nina's. Hello, Mr. Mortimer. Detective. I never got the chance to say goodbye to him. I always thought about it every day. What if Louis lived on in this world? What if he stayed a little longer with me? Because of that constant mindset, I dragged everyone down. And I kept hurting not only me, but Nina especially. I was the one who kept hurting her. The one to blame for all of this. But you, someone that I've never met, still went out of your way to save me, not knowing my burns or my faults. Thank you. Hugo reaches out to Henry and smiles brightly at him. It's my pleasure, sir. Before he lets go, Henry tugs at Hugo's hands one last time. I hope that someday you too will overcome it. We're back at we're back at the office. Oh, good morning, Hugo. You're bright and early. Morning. With much fervor and haste, Hugo resumes writing on his notepad. Although, by closer inspection, he looks like he's going to combust any minute. Are you writing up the report? Without looking up, Hugo responds back. Yeah, for the most part. You still need to write yours too. I will. But still, I haven't had breakfast yet. And I don't like eating by myself. And he brought breakfast. Let me guess. 2 is better than 1. Bingo! Well, Hugo, you're really catching on. I'm so proud of you. Ah, shut it, will you? I swear, if only I hadn't fallen off from the window, maybe my report would have been shorter. Before Noah can begin to cut the bacon, he pauses at the mention Hugo's report. Oh yeah, by the way, might tell me what happened to the Mortimer's window? I broke it. Well, that's obvious to me. What I don't understand is, why is it broken? Do you know how much it costs to repair a window like that? I know. It was really dumb of me. Sorry. Besides, I told Mr. Mortimer about it before we left. Honestly, I was expecting an earful from him. And also the bill. And, surprisingly enough, he said it was okay. So what? You just called it a day after all that? Thank you so much, Mr. Mortimer. You broke it, you pay for it. Would you chill? Of course I'll pay for it. But each time I kept insisting, he just shrugged it off. He said that we already went through a lot for them, so this was nothing in comparison. Ugh. You know what? He's right. After all that we went through, I deserve at least a nap. Hugo puts his pen and proceeds to head for the couch. Colby follows after him. Wait, what about breakfast? I'll eat it later. It's nap time now. Heavily sighing, Noah sets aside the food on his desk and joins the other two at the couch. Ugh, I'm getting old. I mean, you are old. Shut it. Colby whines, asking for head scratches. Sorry, boy. Silently, Hugo scratches the back of Colby's ear as he leans closer to Noah. You know, I'm glad that you came along yesterday. Oh, what's this? Are you getting chummy with me now? Call it chummy or whatever, but I really mean it. If you hadn't saved us back there... Look, I told you before. I'll be there whenever you get yourself into reckless stuff. Besides, didn't you say this was nap time? Get some rest. You deserve it. You too. After a calming silence fills the room, there as the three fall deeper into sleep. No big parties or celebrations. Just each other's comfort and sharing this small but rewarding night's rest. Good end. A night's rest. I'm guessing the bad end would mean not taking the locket with me. Thank you for playing. I actually like that. And like I said earlier, I'm only assuming the bad end would be not taking the locket with me. But yeah, I actually liked this. This was fun. Also, I cried a little bit. Not gonna lie. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed and want to see more games like this, hit that like button. And if you're new, please subscribe and feel free to comment down below. And thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.